is our best foot forward, meaning depending on who represents us. It does not mean that we won the election. We seem to forget that we are going into election with other parties. Does not translate to the fact that we have won election. We need to now go and prepare for how to win the election. What we've done now is to find ways to reduce acrimony amongst ourselves so that we don't go into elections with an anti-party sentiment.
The governor also urged members to intensify grassroots mobilization by taking the campaign to their respective communities with a view to ensuring the party's victory in the forthcoming elections.
Let us live here, all united and fired up, that this is how we want to be known for in Ogun State. A state and a party that knows how to select its leaders, governors, senators, members of the House of Representatives, and members of the House of Assembly in preparation for the bigger fight.
In his acceptance speech, Senator Adeola expresses appreciation to Governor Abiodun and other party leaders across the state for their support and confidence in his candidacy for the 2027 poll.
I want to assure sir, I will not let you down. I promise to keep the flag flying. I promise to retain and maintain the unity, peace and progress that has taken place in Ogun State for the last 3 years and beyond. I can assure you I will not derail. I will not, the ship I'm about to take over, I will make sure that it does not derail.
He pledges to sustain continuity by promoting peace and stability in the state, adding that his administration would focus on fostering unity and togetherness among party members.
And by the special grace of God, I will do my best, my utmost best, to keep every member of our great party together, to keep all the state together, and to ensure that irrespective of political alignment, groups or caucus, we are one big indivisible family. Going forth from today, Your Excellency, and all the leaders of the party, I want to assure you that a new Ogun State is born.
The meeting was attended by party stakeholders from across the state, including former governors, deputy governors, and members of the national and state assemblies, as well as other party faithful.
Yeah, welcome to this week edition of Reporters Lounge at 17th day in the month of April. And yeah, we are in the season already, and we are already counting down to the big one when you talk about election campaigns and all. We are seeing political parties getting ready, choosing candidates and holding congresses, national congresses. For some, it's a smooth running because their house seems to be in order, and for some, it's litigations and court injunctions and status quo from court saying that status quo must remain. We will look at majorly many of what is happening or what's transpiring in some political parties. But we start from Ogun State, and we also look at the issue of security and also the welfare of what the government of Ogun State is also doing concerning the welfare of civil servants and also at this particular period where the price of fuel is not stable. So we saw the video there, and but before we start, we go deep into that topic. Senator Solomon Adeola emerged as the consensus governorship candidate of Ogun APC. Before we delve into it, let me introduce the guests. They are the regulars on this show. Dara Adebikwe, welcome to the show this week.
It's my pleasure to be here again, and we thank viewers for tuning on to watch this program again.
Yeah, Matthew Showme is also here. Matthew, you are welcome. Big week.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, let's start. Senator Solomon Adeola, or popularly known as Yayi, emerged as APC consensus governorship candidate in Ogun State. Do we now say that the zoning argument, you know, we can't say it's over because this is just the candidate of the ruling political party. Now, do we say, at least as far as APC is concerned, APC has done what will end the zoning argument possibly in the state from their own side?
Well, without sounding pessimistic, I want to say it is not El Dorado yet. It is just the winning of a step to another step. But I want to give it to the leadership of APC in the state, you know, given the array of personalities that attended the caucus.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at it, apart from social function, hardly have we had, I stand to be corrected anyway, hardly have we had the collectives of those who have ruled this state between 1999 and where we are now. And for the governor, the present governor, he was able to gather all his predecessors, I mean the civilian administration governed by civilians, in terms of, we have the likes of Alemo Olusegun Oshoba, Otunba Gbenga Daniel, who took over after him, and then of course we have Senator Amosun, whom the present governor Dapo Abiodun took over from. You see, it's hardly can you have this kind of gathering in a political meeting like this. And when you look at their genesis, it goes to show you that politics is interest-driven. Because when you look at their origin, not all of them started from the same kitchen, yeah, or from the same, who are eating from the same pot. You are either in AD, from AD to ACN to APC, from PDP you jump to SDP, then all of them have at one time or the other jumped to another party. But the glory of it is that in choosing the next successor to the present governorship that is at the realm of affairs now, all of them gathered, and that's a plus. But that is not to say the storm is over, because there are several other bridges that will have to be crossed, and of course many other waters or rivers to pass through. And that's why I want to appreciate the speech as delivered by our present governor, that yes, the parties still need to avoid acrimonies. We need to come together, because it is not this victory of Senator Solomon Adeola, aka Yayi, that has, you know, giving him the ticket into the Okebe house, or whatever you call the government house in Okemoson. I mean government office at Okemoson. But the electorate will still have to decide. In deciding what are the booby traps that are on the way, how is the party addressing all these booby traps? Booby traps within, booby traps outside. There are several, and that's why I said there are several rivers to pass through and several bridges to cross. And how they manage all this is what happens, because the battle has just begun. And I pray, I mean, I'm just wishing them that their lot will be accomplished, but it depends on how the leadership, members of the party conduct and carry themselves, and the way they are able to avoid watching their dirty linen outside, that will determine who eventually gets to Kemoson in 2027 among all the parties that are jostling for that position.
Well, Matthew, there's been reaction from some opposition, you know, about the emergence and all. What just like we said, balancing the zoning argument in Ogun State, but some people are not really agreeing with this. Do you all think it is just based on their own personal interest, or the fact that you know, or aligning with the thought that every part of the state must produce leaders who are quality and can rule as you know, can rule the state as expected?
Well, politics anyway is about interest, and especially when it comes to our own climate here, where we have to an extent made political office something that people aspire to because of the gains that are attached to it. That said, I want to congratulate the Ogun State Governor, Senator Dapo Abiodun, for achieving what, or for taking the first step. Don't let me say, because it's still a long road or long journey to make. Now, for taking the first step of achieving what is the predecessors have found difficult to achieve when you look back at the recent history of the state, and for also taking the first step of fulfilling the promise he made sometimes ago that by the time he will be handing over power to the next person that will take over the affairs of the state, he promised that the transition period is going to be less of, there will not be accumulate and rancor as we used to, that as the recent history of the state has made us to witness. So he has made a promise, and he has taken the first step of fulfilling his promise by actually listening to the yearnings of the majority of the members of the party, by allowing the popular will, by allowing the popular wishes of members of APC to come to pass in determining, maybe, I will not say maybe not all members, but maybe a reasonable amount of maybe majority, let me say that way, for allowing their interests or their wishes to come to pass by consider, by announcing the distinguished senator as the consensus candidate of the party. While I also want to congratulate the senator who has been chosen as the consensus candidate of APC for being able to fulfill his long-term dream of having the opportunity of flying the flag of APC in Ogun State as a governorship candidate. But he has a burden to carry, and the burden is, he has the burden of the entire Ogun West to carry, because this is the first time, though candidates have emerged from Ogun West in the past, but this is the first time a major political party, that is APC, will be handing over the ruling party, so to say, will be handing over the ticket of the governorship ticket to someone from the region, Ogun West. And if you look at our history, all other regions have had the opportunity of ruling the state. It's only Ogun West that have not been, that have found the Okemoson ticket elusive over a long for since the creation of the state. So
I think that
he has a burden to carry, and the burden is to ensure that he is able to deliver, he is able to win the governorship, because he still has a long way to go, because he has just been given the ticket of the party. He has not won the election, so he has the task ahead of him, and the task is to ensure that he actually goes ahead to win the governorship seat. So, and by the time he wins it, he must now ensure that he represents his zone very well as Okemoson.
Well, still talking about this topic, but looking at it from another angle. Now, the national APC, the party has declared that no automatic ticket for any lawmaker. We are talking about issue of acrimony. Now, there's no automatic ticket for any lawmaker. Now, don't you think this will create the acrimony that the governor or some leaders in the party does not really want at this particular time?
Well, it depends on how they are able to manage it. It depends on how people are able to humble and bury their egos.
But do you think that the no automatic ticket is a way to go?
It's to open the platform for everybody, to make it competitive. That yes, you have been laboring for this party, you have a stake in the party, you have the opportunity to clamor to any position that you desire. But you see, the issue of the consensus they use for the governorship, to pick the governorship, had always been the style. When you look at how the then action group, the Unity Party of Nigeria that ruled the old Western region, when you look at the politicking, the leadership of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo was conducting the affairs of the party. The issue of consensus is not far from that conduct. But you see, I think it is an opportunity to give leverage to whoever will be thinking that I know there will not be openness in the choice of party candidate. It's an open ground to give everybody a level playing ground. That's what I think. But however, the whole thing depends on the actors, the managers, how they are able to do it. One thing that I know is that there are several positions to be fixed. So if you don't have this particular position, there is a way that party machineries are deployed to ensure that interests of certain people are taken care in order to avoid opening themselves to opponents or opposition. So if you don't have if you are not victorious in one competitive position, the party should have a way to fix them up. But it depends on presentation, it depends on the opinions, it depends on humility and bearing of ego. That's what I think, because there are several positions, public positions to be filled. It is not until you get to the National Assembly that you are fixed up. Well, you will soon notice that most of those people that step down for Yayi, they were not stepping down for fun. They have equally paid the price of sacrificing certain things to get the form of the party. Who pays for that? Or what do they get in return for all this? That's why the issue of it is compulsory, I must get this. That's why I said the issue of how the party leadership manages this acrimony or infighting that could likely occur or erupt as a result of they are not giving me room. But it's obvious. Let them give them room. Let everybody have a level playing ground. Well, I will wait and see what as the event unfolds. Yes, concerning the governorship candidate that has been sorted, but talking about the candidate for the National Assembly, State Assembly, in many states, even in Ogun State, that is still going on, and that's why we have a lot of people declaring their interest to contest at various assembly, state or national. Let's move to the next topic. ADC holds Congress amid court injunctions, litigation, and all. And the party that held that national Congress says the process was constitutional, but factions are saying no, they are disagreeing. And David Mark, whose faction held that National Congress, he is now the new working committee, national chairman, the National Working Committee. National chairman is David Mark, National Secretary is Raul Aregbeshola. Still, it seems this party,
you know, we talked about following the rule and the statutory that guides, you know, every you know, political party and even the political structure of the country. But it seems this party, and don't forget that prior to that National Congress, there was a court injunction stopping that the Congress continues, and the court injunction says that they should maintain status quo, but they held on to you know, to hold the Congress. Now, looking at all this, what becomes of this Congress? Because, you know, we continue to talk about the fact that obeying the statutory law will help, you know, sort the crisis in this party. But it seems they don't want to consider the statutory, you know, rules that guide this party.
Well, without playing into the gallery, I want to say that most of these issues that you raise are sub judice because they are already in court. One thing that one could say, the aftermath of the Congress is the fact that ADC Congress, for me, they are just telling us again that they are really certifying or ratifying the National Working Committee that it seemed INEC has recognized. They are ratifying them. However, I want to say this, you know, if there is not going to be, I mean, there is no society that does not have, to a reasonable extent, what you call rule of law. When there is no rule of law, we are going to what we can say an obedient society where everybody does everything the way what he likes. And I don't think the level that we are now, reaching about, is it not 26 or 27 years that we are in our on the democratic path, after the battle with the military intervention for years? Can we stand it again? You know, for some of us, we knew how it was, and that's why most of the gladiators that are crying oohs and cry, they should not allow us to be back to the old order. I don't think that it's something, the issue of ruling is an issue of at all costs. It's service. And that is why all public office holders must be very careful and be tolerant with one another. I mean, they should give room for what is the norm within the democratic path that you have chosen. Because this democracy must not be aborted, as it were. So, if they are not respecting court orders, what are we saying? However, we wait and see. Why they will soon come concerning the issue of what Supreme Court will judge on the Court of Appeal over whether Nafi Rabiu is supposed to occupy that post, or on the issue of technical antebellum. We will soon know by Wednesday. And the other one at the Federal High Court is due for Thursday, which is 23rd. It's just a wait and see. We see how it goes. But be that as it may, I wish that we should allow the multi-party plurality of parties to exist for a free and fair environment where we can practice. But be that as it may, as we still speak, I still tell people, with the additional parties that INEC has recognized, we have 21 parties in the country now. What are we saying?
Matthew, looking at this, I'm aware, and I'm sure that in the course of this job, you know that when there are party congresses, whether at the state level or the national level, you have representatives of, let's say, INEC and some or other observers around. But when you go to when you hold a national congress of this magnitude and you don't have INEC representative, because that is what the other faction is saying, that it cannot be recognized. But do you think political parties at this period should hold a national congress, and knowing fully well that INEC is not on ground, and you still decide to to go ahead with that congress, and INEC will not come unless it is statutory and you say it is constitutional? So how do you put this? Do you think any political party at this period should hold a national congress where you know that you don't have observers who will be there to write reports and tell the people that yes, it went well and the way it should go?
Well, ordinarily, on the face value of it, one would have just said what they have just done is a charade. But in politics, you can never say never. They know what they are doing. They know the game they are playing. Don't forget that these people that have found themselves in ADC have been around for a very long time. They know how politics is played in this our climb. Oftentimes, the more you see, the more you look, the less you see is the case in our own politics. You cannot blame them for what they have done, because they know that they are racing against time. Time is no longer on their side. The time for party congresses, the time for the election of party officials is almost going out. It is about existential challenge. They must at least get something done and hope that at the end of the day they will have a favorable judgment at the court of law. What they are doing is they are hoping against time, hoping that maybe at the end of the day, by the time the judgment is delivered, it will be in their favor. Now, if they don't do this now, and at the end of the day, the judgment is delivered, and it comes out that the judgment is in their favor, what time do you expect them to now start gathering themselves together to say they want to go into a congress? Let's wait and see. It is another passing phase in our democratic journey. It is another passing phase in our opposition politics. How they are able to resolve this quagmire they have found themselves in, it's only time we can, and it will also be a kind of example in our political firmament. Years to come, others will find a way of referencing what is happening at this moment. Whether good or bad, it will serve as a kind of a reference point in our future politics. Well, we've talked about this. Maybe after that court ruling, maybe they will have reason to now say, let's come to the round table, let's put all these agitations aside, and maybe there will still be time to negotiate if that will be possible at that period. But it is who win the race, and that is where it all lies. And we will fold our hands and look at how the event unfolds. Thursday and Wednesday, it's just a matter of days, and we will be here to give you much on that when we hold the program, possibly next week. Let's go to the next one. It's on security. FD names Manu, Simon Ekpa, 46 others as terrorism financiers. We've talked about this. It's not new, but federal government is now, doing what a lot are saying, that there's been a report about this. There's been intelligence
international intelligence community has been able to also help with some reports on this. Now, as federal government recognize this, this report, what are they going to do about it? Now, the federal government seems to be recognizing that report. So the question is, what is next after this?
Well, you must have a foolproof agreement to enforce whatever action that they are contemplating against these people, which means they must gather, apart from having this list, is a litmus test on how they want to gather the necessary information, intelligence, as to nip these people. After labeling them, we need to have concrete evidence that will be difficult to make them to win any case against them in law court. Because the next thing is, yes, we have gathered the list. Yes, where are they? What are you doing with the list that you gather in terms of intel? And after gathering intelligence, what is next is prosecution if they are found guilty. Because sometimes we have found out that yes, you will name names, but if you don't have the appropriate offense that you want to label them for prosecution, it could be a tough order. However, I just want to say that we have this burden now because of what we ought to have done in the past that we did not do. It's not as if this list is just coming up now, because at least for goodness sake, for crying out loud, it's been in the public domain for a while. But we must give kudos to the present administration that at least it took a step to make it a public document. And then, of course, we do know that a number of those people that have been charged for banditry, terrorism, are being prosecuted in court. Even I reliably gathered it's about 600 have even been prosecuted right now. If we have been doing all this before, we would not have had the temerity. I mean, we would not have had the frequency of these incidents that we have been recording concerning insecurity. And they will not have the latitude to have stayed within our borders for that long. But because they remain untouched for a while. And that is why it's becoming very difficult. And also, the issue of politics have come in. And people are utilizing as allegedly, to raise the bar of this issue of insecurity, allegedly. However, how the government tackles it will depend on the case they want to put against all these people, how they want to lead them. If Simon Ekpa had not been, caught the way the federal government put up the case where he's staying in Finland, it will have been another case, because he has already been convicted in Finland where he stays. The others, I know that maybe one or two of them, like the person that you say is engaged in ransom settlement for all these people engaging, is equally facing a court case right now. So, but there must be vigilance. Vigilance on the part of government, vigilance on the part of people, and of course, we need to raise the tempo, not only of our boots on ground, but raise the bar of the kind of equipment we use in terms of technology, in terms of armory. We need to upscale it so as to meet up to reduce the burden of this insecurity if you are to, if you are looking ahead to 2027 elections.
Well, Matthew, federal government has named 46 or 47 terrorism financiers, according to them, and at the same time, 774 repentant terrorists have completed their rehabilitation, and a lot of people are saying, no, this should not be the way to go. If you name these financiers, some of these terrorists or some of these repentant terrorists should also face, should also be tried in the court of law. How do you see this? What is your reaction to?
To me, I'm largely ambivalent about this issue of repatriation or rehabilitation of terrorism or terrorists. Because this is not the first time we'll be traveling along this path, or it's not the first time we'll be going this route. The former government of President Buhari did a whole lot in trying to rehabilitate terrorists, in trying to make them see why they must forsake the path of terrorism and embrace peace. But what have we achieved with it? If we have achieved anything, it has been in the negative side, because most of the reasons why our intel, our security intelligence get to the enemies or to terrorists before we actualize our plan has been because we've allowed these people to infiltrate our security architecture in such a way that it's like you are trying to bring in enemies into your camp, thinking that maybe by the time he comes in, you can get him to renounce his former camp and join your camp. It could go either way, and from our experiences in the recent past, it has gone the negative way. If you want to rehabilitate terrorists, what happens to those victims of terrorism? Let's even forget the fact that maybe the thing has not worked over the years, or maybe those that have been rehabilitated have disappointed, have done things that we didn't expect them that they would do. If you are rehabilitating terrorists, you are trying to say it's like someone who has stolen, who have killed in the past. You now say, okay, just forget what you have done in the past, come in, we give you a soft landing. Would that not encourage others to think, actually, if I can kill and do something, if I can engage in a crime, whatever I gain, after some time, I will just go to the government and say the government have renounced what I've been doing in the past, then I'll be forgiven, and I can just be rehabilitated. Then maybe after a while, I'll go back and start enjoying the fruits of my crime. The reasons for punishment under the philosophy that supports punishment is because of deterrence. If there is no punishment, people will behave the way they like, and nobody will caution, nothing will caution them. But if you know that if you commit this particular crime, the punishment is there to handle, to take care of whatever you have done, the punishment will be severe in such a way that you find it difficult to stomach. You think twice before you engage in a crime. But if you know that maybe after sometimes it depends on how grievous your crime is, you can be forgiven and be taken back. The tendency for you, the propensity for you to want to commit crime is very high. So what I'm saying in essence is, I don't think rehabilitating terrorists can work. The best thing is for the government to ensure we put in necessary measures to tackle this challenge of terrorism. Now, on the issue of naming terrorist financiers, this is not the first time our government will be naming terrorist financiers or terrorism financiers. The administration of Buhari also did the same thing. What did we see? At the end of the day, were we able to address this challenge? It's not about naming. If you name them, what do you want to achieve by naming them? Do you want the public to start to do the prosecution on your behalf? It's by investigating people that you think are into terrorism finances, investigate them, bring them to book, so that it will serve as a kind of example, or it will serve as a kind of deterrent for others who might think of who may want to go the same path, who may want to go the same route. It's not about, if you name them, what do you want us to do with by naming them? Is it that you want us to do the prosecution? No. Bring these people to book and let it serve as a kind of example for others. Let Nigerians see that those that are involved in making life difficult for them are being brought to book and are being made to serve the necessary punishment that is due for whatever crime they have committed. Well, no, I don't subscribe to just naming terrorism finance. It's about dealing with the issues we have on our hands.
Well, even in your repentance, and that's what I'm taking away from what you said, even in your repentance, you must serve that jail term as laid down in the Constitution. You must serve the punishment. Possibly it will not be a jail term, but there will be a punishment for anything that you've done. Even when you repent, you must understand that for people, for the public, they must know that to do this is not good, and that there's an end result for that. So even when you repent, that punishment must be served. Let's move to the last topic of the day. Ogun State government approves 10,000 naira and 1 day of palliative for civil servants. Do we say a palliative coming at a very, very good time, considering the rising or the unstable price of fuel at this particular level? Because for any civil servant going to work, you spend in the region of, considering where you live, at least you are going to spend 2,000 to get to work, where you were spending maybe 1,200, 1,500, you now spend almost 1,000, 2,000, 2,500 to get to work. Now looking at this decision by the state government, 10,000 for 3 months. I mean 10,000 for each for 3 months, beginning from April, and 1 day off during the week. How do you see this?
Well, at least it's another way, it's another laudable step contemplated by the state government. It's a good thing, at least, to cushion the effect of the commuting problems that the workforce of the state government are facing. But they should looking at it holistically. Everybody is facing it in a way, but it's another way to ginger those in the private sector up to see how they want to ameliorate the condition of their staff too. It is heartwarming. It is good. It is good, and more so, the government has even analyzed it that it is not for everybody. Even those who are not going, they will still benefit from this 10,000, because they analyze the fact that those who are involved in essential services like judiciary, the medical, non-academic and academic staff, all those ones, and security agencies are not involved in all of these 1 day off.
Yes.
Including HODs and accounting officers. And I can understand why accounting officers are there, because it is understandable that there is no way that expenses will not be incurred at any point of the day. So once such accounting officers are not available, it could be a difficult thing. However, with this, the workforce will be to a reasonable extent be motivated, even though there is no amount of money that you give at this moment that will take over. I mean, that will offset the current inflationary trend that we are facing. I tell you, it's not that. What I want the government to do, not only state government per se, government as a collective, is to begin to work out a situation where the issue of increase in fuel price will not in any way affect all other goods. I don't think it happens in Financiers just like that, because for you to increase your price, you have to go through certain processes. So the way we are doing it in Nigeria, immediately the price of fuel goes up in Nigeria, every other thing. And for them to bring such things down, it's always another element. So, but for the state government to have had this thought and to begin to say, okay, as from the end of this month up to the next 3 months, praying that the U.S. Israeli Iran war will come to an end, and we see how it goes.
Well, there's been talk of negotiation or talk of discussion about ceasefire, which seems to be working. But at this period, Matthew, this palliative measure, how do you see it, and how do you think it will help many civil servants to navigate this very rough road?
Surely it will be a kind of it will come as a kind of assistance to help cushion the effect of the high cost of transportation as a result of the war in the Middle East. It will help in such a way that if you have what you incur on transportation monthly has now been your budget for transportation has now been increased or improved upon. So in such a way that if you are incurring maybe 10,000, 20,000 naira, you now have 30,000 naira as a kind of something that you or you have the 10,000 naira will now be added to what you initially
and you have to extract 4 days after
and one day will now be off. That means your transportation cost has been reduced by maybe, I should say, maybe 10% or 20%, as it were. Because if you calculate the number of days that you're supposed to go to work and you remove 4 days, you know what you have. So it will come a long way in assisting the workforce in navigating this economic, should I say, economic stress that has been caused by the problem of increase in fuel price. And it's not even transportation that is affected by this fuel price. Other things are affected because of the kind of economy we have as a nation. Our economy is largely run on fuel because power is almost zero. You cannot rely on power. As a business owner, if you want to set up any business in Nigeria today, the first thing that must come to your mind is energy. How do you power your business? And there's no way you want to power your business that you know how to incur cost on fuel, because our public power cannot be relied upon. You can't actually say between so period there will be public power, so that you'll be able to plan. If you are decided that what you do, you can actually do it at any period of the day. You cannot say, okay, I'm sure that there will be public power supply every morning between so hours. So whatever you want to do, you'll be able to do it within that period in such a way that maybe after that, once you have done what you have done, you need to do, you have done it with public power, then you spend less on. But it is not the case in our own situation. You have to rely heavily on fuel. So the stress that has been caused by this fuel price increase will be reduced to an extent by this 10,000 naira. It will surely be of assistance to the workforce. So and I want to thank the Ogun State Governor who has actually done this, and also the head of service who has actually been at the vanguard of promoting or interfacing on behalf of the workers to ensure that the government actually listens to things that can brings out things that can reduce the welfare and increase the welfare of the workforce.
Well, we say thank you to the governor and also at the head of service, because it's really been what has been the thoughts of many civil servants, and it's coming at the right time. And definitely that's the show this morning. I want to thank the gentleman of the press, Yayi. Thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you so much. It's really my pleasure to be here again.
I'm Matthew. Possibly next week we'll be hoping to have you again.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
All right. That's the show this morning. We hope you enjoyed. Watch out for the repeat edition later today. Until then, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of the day, and also the coming weekend. We'll see you again next week. Bye for now.